Eskin. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your take, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it. That's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
Oh, yes. As you're riding with the king on the Howard Eskin Show on live this Wednesday night, just before the NCAA tournament gets underway. And we're going to talk about that for quite a bit tonight with Phil Martelli, who's been in college basketball for quite a while, but we'll get into that. We'll talk to Phil. Eagles made a trade. I will also address the stories that have come out over the last week all over the place on the things that myself and Angelo Cataldi said on last Wednesday's show, but we'll get to that. This on the Sixers, who cares? And the Phillies a week away from the start of the season. First, I want to tell you that always welcome our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Jeff Stillwell, the award-winning Circle of Success winner annual recognition program for the top people, the people that help, the advisors that help their clients really, really well. And Jeff has outstanding client service. Jeff does a great job. He knows how to help you plan for your future financially. He can help you. He's already helped a lot of people. There's his number, 732-343-0813. All right. We will go over the NCAA tournament. We can announce the winner of last week's prize. And the winner, I'll have a question of something that Phil says for this week's prize, a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. There's so many things in college basketball. When you get somebody on that's a coach and a former coach in college basketball, they know that what it used to be and what it is now. Doesn't mean that quality play, doesn't mean this is not an exciting time, but there's a lot of things going on. But also, I want to thank our other partners on this program, and that would be Thomas Chevrolet. Thomas Chevrolet, great selection of new, pre-owned, up to $14,000 in savings available, 0% APR. It's getting to be Corvette season. And I was over there the other day, and they said, the owner, Tom, said, we got to get you out in a Corvette. I had a Corvette when I was younger, much, much younger, when I was, kind of still a kid. But it's a great, fun vehicle, but their vehicles are all good. The Equinox, the Silverado, the Diverse, the Tahoe, they are a certified Corvette specialist. Also will do service, superior service department, service on any vehicle that you may have. But as I said, I didn't even give you the address. I got to give you the address. 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. Easy to get to, in and out. Like I said, a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Here's the number, 610-566-8600, 1263 West Baltimore Pike. Great people, family-owned business, and they've been in business celebrating 38 years. Check them out on the internet, thomaschevy.com. Also, another fine partner and sponsor on the program, and that would be Piazza Property Pros. You want to get a vision of what your backyard could look like. They could also give you a vision of your front yard if you want to do that. You want to put in a pool, you want to put in fencing, landscaping, whatever it is, hardscaping. They can do it all. 25, another company with a lot of experience, 25 years of experience. They don't subcontract, which means they're really good. And they can give you a vision of what your property can look like. I went on they had a podcast I went on with Jim Piazza, and it's up there now. So but what they do is really good. Really good. Give them a call. 610, actually not really good, very good. 610-566-2608. Want a pool? You better not waste any time. Get to talk to them as soon as you can. What pool maintenance, whatever it is. 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation or check them out on the internet, and that would be piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, we'll get to the other sports and the other things going on, and I see a bunch of people that have already chimed in, on the show. It's just from all over the place. I get them from all over the country, but we got to talk about the NCAA tournament, and that's I don't know. I'll ask Phil Martelli. I'm going to welcome Phil Martelli in. Is it the most exciting sport
Whoa,
at
whoa,
this time of the year?
hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm here under false pretenses.
What's that?
I got word from your producers and all their sponsors and all this other stuff. By the way, if you ever stop over at Thomas's, park in my house, we'll go through my backyard, we'll go over the median bypass, and you can walk there.
Wow, you're that close, huh?
I'm that close.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I like to walk. I love to walk.
I know you do. I know, that's why I said it.
Yeah, but see, if it's me and you're with me, people might try to run me down.
No, they'll stop you and make pictures and all that other stuff, I'll never forget this at a Phillies game one day. You were getting swamped. I was standing there, and you turned to me and said, "Listen, when you get to this level, always carry a Sharpie." And I always did after that because of you.
You know what? I learned that from covering golf tournaments, because when the players on the practice round, they won't do it when they're during a round. On the practice round, people are standing behind the ropes, and people want autographs, and you can't keep on. Some people don't have a pen, some people do.
Just carry.
The golfer brings it out of his pocket and always carry a Sharpie. Hey, listen, when you get
that's on my desk in Greenville.
When
the other thing is this. The other thing is that I thought for sure we were going to discuss the performance last night by the 2026 National League MVP, Bryce Harper. He's going to win the award this year. He's going to be the MVP.
Phil, don't embarrass yourself.
Come on, man.
Don't embarrass. Hey, last night he got over 200 in hitting. He got his average over 200. So, hey, listen, if that was a home run that put them in the lead, he can take that, he can throw that bat the way he did. It only tied the game. I think all that did was piss off Venezuela. It tied the game. Come on, man. It's just 8th inning and you scored 2 runs.
Did it come down yet, by the way? That was like a 600-foot. That was like a Mickey Mantle when we were kids.
Yeah, it didn't even give him the lead, but whatever the case. All right, Phil.
I do think that this stretch, I actually was talking to some of the media guys today, and because you're a big golfer, I mentioned this. This whole buildup and the 68 teams, and from that moment at 6 o'clock on Sunday night until the ball goes in the air, it's already been in the air for 4 teams last night, 4 teams tonight. To me, all of these teams have entered the Masters, and you have 128 golfers, right? And they play in the Masters.
Right.
But guess what? The teams that are left Saturday, they're competing for the Masters. There's a difference. There's a real difference to playing and to competing, because if you're down to 32 on Saturday, there's a path for you to get there. And that's what they're all trying to do. They're all trying to get to that Monday night in Indianapolis.
Okay. So Phil, we know the Super Bowl is exciting, but that's just basically one day. We know the baseball playoffs, there's so many rounds of the playoffs that, so many games in each round. it takes a while to get there. Basketball is way, if you get to the finals and play the max amount of games, you're playing 28 games in 3 weeks. And then, hockey is a very intense, and they always play hard. But, and you're a basketball coach, so I kind of expect this answer, but I think a lot of people agree. Is the NCAA, as they've coined it, March Madness, the most exciting time in sports?
I believe that, yes, because I think the casual fan gets involved. The only thing for me, Howard, and this, and you know me well, the only thing for me is a Phillies playoff run, because when that game ends, they're playing the next day. And when that game ends, now they're taking a day off. But it's churning the whole time. Here it's this. I just think it's phenomenal what they've done in creating like this mindset that the bubble, the bubble, the bubble. Well, I'm with a VCU team that is 16-1. They're 16-1 since January the 10th.
Really good.
Howard, had they lost any game between January 10th and last Sunday when they won the Atlantic 10, had they lost one more game, they would not be here.
You know what's so if they lost in the final,
I don't believe. Yeah, I know what the guy said. I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
Right. Hey, listen, Miami, of Ohio was undefeated in the regular season. That's a hell of an accomplishment, and they almost didn't make it because they lost in their conference tournament. That's, you got to give them some credit for the season. But
they have every number, and they have every number, and they can twist and turn the number. And I'm not knocking them because it's really hard work, and they can make the number for you or against you if they want.
It's unbelievable. No, I should mention your son, for the people that don't know. Your son, Phil Martelli Jr., is the head coach of VCU. So obviously he's done a great job. There you are. You guys having a good time with the family. Is that his assistant coach in the other yellow pullover?
Yeah, that's my other son, Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy's the associate head coach.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And there are, I don't know, there were 6 of the grandkids were there.
Wow. And your wife, Judy, and she was in the first picture. She's experienced a lot of the NCAA. There, Judy with your 2 kids. Is that, whose daughter is that?
That's my daughter, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. So she was there. And obviously, being a head coach is more, well, there's pressure now because it's your son. The excitement of the tournament for you, being with your son, and you pretty much go, I guess, to every game, right? Mm-hmm. Is it almost like being a head coach with the feeling and the pressure and the intensity, hoping your son would win?
It's more intensity, Howard. I went in and what I never watched the X's and the O's, and I don't watch the substitution patterns or I don't know who should play and who shouldn't play because I don't go to practice every day. And I really mean that. I think that unless you go to practice every day, then you should be able to say, well, this guy should play. You don't know what they're watching and how they're judging it. So beginning of the year, I went through and I was trying to be there so that if they ask me a question, not X's and O's, but if they ask me a question, I could answer it. But since January 1, every single day, I would say it's double the feeling that I had, the pressure feeling that I had when I was coaching, because I have literally no outlet. All I can do is sit and watch, and it's been
intense. Yeah, it's intense. And you're right. You can't do anything about it. You've been coaching since 1977. Wow, mm-hmm. That's what, 50 years ago next year. 1977, St. Joe, 85 to 95 as an assistant, 95 to 2019 as a head coach. And I don't know, in Michigan, you were an associate head coach. I don't know, and I think you've not accepted it, but dealt with it by this point. Tomorrow was 7 years ago tomorrow than that moron at St. Joe, that woman that was running the whatever she was, who's left, Jill, whatever her name was, and let you go.
I didn't know it was 7 years. I
Yes,
didn't know it was 7 years, and
2019,
you know,
March
people,
19th, was it 2019? Yeah, 2019.
they can pick who they want to coach the team. We came out the other side here, Howard.
Yeah, and you know what? And we talked about it, and I'll bring it up. When I saw that VCU was playing St. Joe, and I told you this, and I talked to Mark Lawrence about it on the weekend. I said, well, I kind of like St. Joe with the points. I think they were getting 6.5. Kind of like, and then when somebody on the chat line said, wait a minute, that's Phil Martelli's son. I said, oh, take that back. They're going to murder this team. And poor Steve Donahue, they're going to murder this team, and they sure enough did. VCU, and that was, that started the ball rolling. But here, the NCAA, and you don't have to acknowledge that, but I know you wanted them to murder that team. But it's pretty much one and done every game you play. That changes the whole dynamic of the pressure that people feel. And I don't know that the players feel that kind of pressure because they're still kids, but how much does a coach, you or now your son, feel that pressure going into every one of those games?
Well, I'm going to flip it and say to you, like, for all the years that I did it as a high school coach, as a college coach, the day after your last game is the most challenging. And that adds to the pressure because you don't want it to be your last day. Like, this is the last day you're together, transfer portals and graduations and coaches moving and the whole bit. But to have that in your head to say, this is the last day. I've always been adamant about this. During a season, there's no such thing as a must win. There really is not. There's no such thing as a must win. The only must win is when they tell you, if you lose, we're collecting the uniforms tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole deal when they're going to collect your uniforms. So right now, 68 teams, 34 of them, by Saturday morning, they're collecting uniforms. That's enormous pressure because you just want those young guys and forget all that. And that's the beauty of this. Like, we can forget about and debate, well, how much are they being paid? At this point, who's transfer? No. It's about winning a basketball game. And we can stop talking about, well, this is that kid's fourth school. And yeah, it's not healthy right now. But this competition, because it is must win, so you get one more day to prepare and play your next one.
Okay, so here's what is different now than what used to be. A mid-major in VCU obviously has to be in that class. They don't have the money of the SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
A mid-major, and I'm surprised if any team that's not from a big conference gets to the Final Four. If they get to the Sweet 16, that's almost a miracle these days.
Mm-hmm.
But how wrong is it, and how disappointing is it for you? And I know you had that St. Joe team and you had hopes because you were 27-0 during the regular season. How disappointing is it for you that the NIL has changed the dynamic when you come to this part of the year in college basketball, that a mid-major has basically no chance to win a national championship?
I can't say, oh no, Pollyanna and Don Quixote is going to no. But there is one thing, and you and I have had this conversation, and I'm going to say it again. We need to stop with this charade of calling it NIL. It is straight up pay for play. And those that can are paying serious money for these kids to play. And those that can't are trying to do the best they can to keep some degree of the collegiate feeling. This is pro soccer, club soccer in Europe. The clubs that pay the most money have the most success. And But the flip side of that is the teams that are paying money and don't produce, what they've done is, coach, you're done, coach.
Yeah, but
You're
he's got
done.
3 years left on a contract.
You're
And
done.
but he gets fired, but then he's got 3 years left on a contract in some cases.
Yeah, and watch Howard. Watch what's going to develop as these jobs are filled, and there's some big jobs out there. Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Providence. There's big jobs out there. You're going to start to see that the salaries for the coaches is going to go down because they want to put the money into the players.
Yeah, well, I guess there'll still be some schools that pay the big time, like let's say the top 10 to 15 coaches.
No question.
Yeah.
There's no question. This is not one size fits all. And this tournament used to be Hoosiers, right? It used to be Hoosiers, and it's not. It's top heavy. It was chalk last year, and if you're really like digging down, you're looking for a reason. You're looking for a reason to create somewhat of a fantasy to not say it's chalk this year.
When you look at Kansas is a good basketball team.
Good.
They have likely the first pick in the draft. And he decides when he wants to play and when he doesn't want to play. So he could be in the tournament and knowing he's the first pick, has a little twinge in his ankle or his calf or something. Hey, listen, I can't play. Because he doesn't care, because he's going to get his money. Does he care about a national championship over the money he's going to get? The fact that he's the first pick? Do you think? That's sickening for a coach.
But Howard, I know this. You are an aficionado on college football. It wasn't always the kids opted out of bowl games, was it?
No.
But now all of a sudden they opt out of bowl games. Like, pick a year. Howard, 8 years ago, if somebody called you and said, yo, my guy opted out of the Gator Bowl, you'd be like,
what?
Yeah, exactly. So we just danced ahead of it until now to say, well, look, last night at the NIT, there was a kid on Auburn that didn't show up. He didn't show up.
Yeah.
And
the NCAA is powerless because the conferences rule. The top 5 conferences are going to have their own thing. The NCAA will be somewhere else. Yeah. And it's ruined what it is because
let's have joy in these games. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, and that's what it is. All right. So now let's look at the games. Your son is playing North Carolina. You think, oh my God, this is a mismatch. I don't think it's a mismatch. I'm not going to ask you to pick the game. I know who you hope will win the game. I think VCU is going to win this game against North Carolina. I think they're going to win the game. And it would be, oh boy, how excited will you be to stay in South Carolina and watch your son play for a game that has a chance to get him to what, 32?
32 and then to 16.
And then to 16.
And this is the only thing that I've said to them. Play this Carolina team. Do not play the Carolina brand. You know, you can't compete against the Carolina brand.
No.
Because it could be, but these kids are so young, they don't even know that Michael Jordan played at Carolina, which is just insane.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. The best player in the NBA ever is Michael Jordan. It's not even, I would debate Wilt because I was lucky enough to see Wilt when I was a kid. But either way, it's one of the two. But when players nowadays, and I'll tell you, I'm going to dime out the guy, Torrey Smith. Remember, he was on the Super Bowl team. Yeah. Torrey Smith, great guy. He says, LeFraud James, as I call him. He says, LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I said, did you ever see Michael Jordan play? No. How can you tell me he's better when you never saw him play? And that's unfortunate for these guys.
I have to give you this. Not every other day, not once every third day, not once a week. Every single day, I would walk by the managers. The managers had their own office at Michigan.
Right.
And they would sit in there every day. LeBron's the best ever. Michael's the best ever. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I would walk by and they would say, Coach Phil, and I go, no, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I'll talk to you about anything else. I said, but I don't have time.
I mean, it's not even
So
close.
here's what I said to them. So one day I'm walking by, I said, all right, look, Michael's the best, but Wilt is the second best. And they give me you're from Philly. And I said, they changed the rules because of the man. And one year he averaged 50 and they knocked him. So what did he do the next year? He led the league in assist.
Yeah, right.
And here's their response. You have to stop, man. You have to stop. It's the Philly in you. And he didn't play against anybody. So I rattle off, like I said, by the way, these 6 guys that he played against, and what back then there were like 8 or 10 teams in the league. So he was playing against them 8 times a year. These 6 guys are in the Hall of Fame.
It's amazing. I'm gonna mention something, and I'm gonna get back to having you look at some of these other games. But I will tell you this: the Sixers made a big deal out of Maxey. I think he's the best player on the team. I think Joel Embiid's a dog. Best player on the team, plays hard, does what the coach wants him to do, plays for his teammates, does everything you're supposed to do as a player. But they made a big deal. He had 887 3-point shots made. He passed Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson played with
That's
the
the only
Sixers.
time Pass and Allen Iverson's have been in the same sentence.
Yeah, but he takes 300 more threes a year than Allen Iverson. But I'm going to give you the best stat. Michael Jordan's the best player. And I only thought about this because of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, in his 15-year career, has 300 less 3-point shots made than Tyrese Maxey. So what does that tell you about the game? It's just, I watched some of the games. I can't watch all of them, but I went to a game with a friend of mine, my buddy from Oakley. So I went to the game, and there was Memphis, horrible team, but everything's a 3-point shot. 65% of the time they're misses.
It's a lot.
It's awful. It's awful what the game is. I hope college coaches can get through to players. All right, let's take a look at some of the games. What teams do you think have the best chance to upset in these first 2 days, or maybe even long shot get to the Sweet 16? Long shot.
I think that, well, they're not an underdog, but Iowa State as a team, when you watch their scores, like in that Big 12 conference, some nights they rocked people by plus 20, plus 30 at times.
Who's this?
Iowa State.
Oh, okay.
Iowa State is tough as tough can be. The one that I've been sitting on, because you and I had an experience watching them, is I like this kid, AJ Diabate at BYU. He could carry his team to I actually think that they're going to get to the Elite Eight. I think they're going to play Arizona in the Elite Eight. And it's going to be reminiscent of like Danny Manning and the Miracles that won the national championship. He's that good. He's the player in this freshman class, which is a tremendous class. He's the player who is that that transformational, like he's the guy that generational. He'll be the boozer young man will be terrific as an NBA player. Nate Ament from Tennessee will be terrific as an NBA player. Cooper Flagg will be terrific as an NBA player. But that kid is going to be generational. And I think they can go to the Elite Eight and play Arizona.
Iowa State's a 2 seed, so Iowa State's is a good team. People like Duke, Arizona,
Michigan,
and there's one other team that they really
Florida is the
Florida.
Champ.
Yeah, and Alabama. A player got arrested. Is that what player got? They still. I don't know how they defend, but they score a lot of points.
Yeah, the Illinois and Alabama play high profile. They play high profile offense. There's something to watch here if this develops over this weekend. Houston, the 2 seed, with Florida being the 1 seed. Houston's regional is in Houston. So they could be a 2 seed going home and they could be very, very powerful as a home team. They're tough mentally. They went to the Final Four last year. They had that game won, and it got away from them against Florida. So that could be a real advantage for Houston getting that far. The other team that I'm looking at is St. John's. Because of this, Pitino, having coached so long in the NBA, he's more used to Thursday, Saturday, the preparation for Saturday, than a normal college coach. Because in college, I would say to you, we played on Wednesday, we play again on Saturday. So I'm used to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now in the NCAA tournament, you play Thursday, you do your media obligations, you have media obligations on Friday, and now you're back at it Saturday, and you say to yourself, holy mackerel, I didn't prepare them well enough for out-of-bounds plays. Well, Rick Pitino has lived that life, and he has an older team, and I think that whole, let's call it the way it is, that pro mentality in New York, he has a semi-pro team, and I don't mean that illegally. He has a semi-pro team that is the toast of the town. I would watch St. John's as a 5 seed getting all the way to the Final Four.
You know what? People either like or dislike Calipari. There's no middle ground. But Arkansas has done a nice job this year. I don't know I haven't looked at the seedings and who they play and what they do, but they got a chance to get. Well, they should. Well, not they should.
They're a 3 seed.
They're a 4 seed. They're a 4 seed, right?
They're 4.
Yeah, they're a 4 seed.
They're 4 with Arizona. That's a monster, though, Howard. That team.
When would they play Arizona? They would play them before the
Sweet 16.
Which one? Which week?
It's Sweet 16.
Oh, okay.
So next.
Yeah, it might be hard. It might be hard to get.
They would play them next
week,
March 26th or 27th.
Yeah,
right?
next week. All right, Villanova started off great. What was it? They had an injury, and all of a sudden things kind of frittered out a little bit. Villanova was a favorite. Now they're an underdog to Utah State.
Utah State.
Yeah,
Utah State's a good
team.
Good team. They won a lot of games. They're the only representative from the Mountain West, which usually gets multiple representatives. I really applaud Kevin Willard, because I did 3 of their games for TV for ESPN Plus in the beginning of the year. He had a nice developing team. He's got a young backcourt, Lindsay and Lewis in the backcourt, freshman and sophomore. He worked this kid Askew in. I think he was 6th man of the year in the Big East. He had a nice setup with Hodge and Brennan down low, and then Hodge went down with the torn ACL. And I think when you're on that edge, and they're not UConn like, they're not St. John's like, and it was a depth issue with Kevin Willard. So they go all the way out to San Diego. I have a nice memory in San Diego. We played out there when Jimmy Nelson was a freshman, and we went out there as an 8 or a 9, won our first game against Georgia Tech, and then lost to Stanford, which was a number 1. Kevin and Villanova would be looking at Arizona in the round of 32.
Okay, I don't know how well versed. Well, you're well versed on St. Louis because they're in the A10, right?
Yes.
I think St. Louis has a better than decent chance of beating Georgia the first game. St. Louis looks like they're a good team. They're a good team, right?
Yeah. The only thing is that, and I'm not analytic, I'm not algorithms and all this other stuff.
Yeah, right.
St. Louis was sailing. They were sailing, and then 6 of their last 8 games, they've trailed at half, and they've lost 3 of them. Something rocked the boat. I don't know. Like, again, I said earlier, if you're not at practice every day, how would you know?
Yeah.
But
Right.
It could be, and they could have straightened this out, Howard. It could be their coach was mentioned for every opening. He's going to Kansas State. He's going to go to Syracuse. that messes with kids' minds. It happened last year. Maryland, Kevin Willard's team at Maryland was good enough to be a Final Four team. The tournament starts and people start saying he's leaving. He's going to Villanova. So here's what happens. The kids go, what? And then the other thing that's because of what's going on with the transfer portal, they wonder, is he going to take me with them? So here you are representing and trying to get to a Final Four, the Holy Land. Right? Did that happen to St. Louis? I don't know. But think about that. 6 of their last 7 games, they've trailed at half.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. There's other teams that people don't pay as much attention to, maybe because we're on the East Coast, that I think have a chance. Santa Clara, I think is a good team. I don't know how good, but I don't think Kentucky is as good. I think Santa Clara has a chance to beat Kentucky.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And that's to our earlier point. Because you spend that money, it doesn't make it all good money, right? Kentucky spent $22 million.
Yeah.
And they've been all over the place. And can they rally it for a run here, or a more cohesive older group with Santa Clara? And the guy can really coach. Herb Sendek he's a gentleman in a world of sinners and thieves. He's a gentleman. And
there's plenty of those.
Yeah.
In college basketball. There are
that
plenty
ain't just basketball though, Howard.
Well, yeah, look at our country. But that's another story.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
You know, I sometimes really good teams take the lesser, and they're not lesser in quality, but they're lesser in name.
Yes.
Take them for granted. Will UCLA take Johnny Dawkins and UCF for granted?
Have you ever heard Mick Cronin speak? That's near impossible. Johnny Dawkins is another gentleman.
Great guy.
No, UCLA is coming to Philly they're coming to Philly so that he can go on a rant afterwards and say, I cannot believe that we got picked to go all the way to Philadelphia and we're from
okay.
Yeah.
So but Johnny Dawkins might have some love here, but the players don't relate to that. They don't relate that he played here in Philadelphia.
They're not even sure Johnny Dawkins played in the league.
Yeah, I know. It's just unbelievable. Is there any other teams that you can kind of see that are under the radar that might, and it's usually the ones when you look at the line, it's like UConn's going to probably murder Furman because they've been sort of a little better than okay. Mm-hmm. But he might want to establish something in this first game because he probably can.
He's also smart enough now, though, to realize, like, you don't have 48 hours to get your team back. So Danny has that sauce in the tournament. You don't win 2 in a row and be as hard on. I like to point at somebody and say, I think the team you mentioned earlier, Arkansas, that one's going to be interesting because he's got Akoff, who's a freshman. He's going to be a top 5 pick. Texas Tech has a guard named Christian Anderson. I'm big on this tournament. With the jockey. And when I mean that, I think the jockey is the point guard or the coach, right? And you look at Purdue, and they've had an unusual year. They've lost 3 home games for the first time in ever. But you have Matt Painter just coming off winning the Big Ten championship, and Brandon Smith, who going into the year was the prohibitive favorite to be player of the year. I think we're looking at a chalk tournament. I really do.
Okay, yeah, because the money's part of it. So your Final Four would be?
Wow, my Final Four. St. John's, Arizona.
St. John's, Arizona.
Michigan. Houston.
All chalk, all good teams. But that's all right. But that's what it's become.
The Nets are coming down. And they're going back to Ann Arbor.
You like Michigan? Well, you have a little affection for Michigan too, obviously,
I'm,
as an
I had
associate head coach there.
I had a
Yeah.
terrific opportunity there, and I just think that uh, man, their style of play. I'm big on scoring the ball. Illinois scores the ball. Alabama scores the ball. This whole idea that defense wins championships. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Offense, you have to score to win these games.
Well, once if you get up big, then the other team starts chasing you, and they don't play their game if they start chasing you. If they're chasing deficits of
And they get tighter like this.
a 7 to 10 points, so it's still the best tournament of the year. NIL, we agree, has screwed up things, and it really screwed up things. But it's still a great tournament. Your son, I'm telling you, I think they got a great chance to beat North Carolina in that, and that's tomorrow. I think at 6:40,
650, yeah.
Thursday, 6:50 Thursday, as we're doing this show live. All right, Phil, before you leave, because I know you're a master of other sports. You were wrong about Bryce Harper. He's not going to win. All right, I'm going to ask you a question.
He'll be in the top 3 of the MVP.
Okay. Do you think Bryce Harper's a Hall of Famer?
Oh, absolutely, positively.
Okay, you're wrong there. All right, not yet.
All
right.
Not yet. What? No, you didn't ask me yet. You didn't say now.
Well, yeah, but he's not.
He's been a pro since he was 16 years old. Of course, he's a pro.
He got all bent out of shape because Dombrowski spoke the truth. He said he's an all-star, but he didn't have an elite season, which he didn't
That's
have.
fine.
He had 260-something and 27 home runs. How many times do you think Bryce Harper has driven in 100 runs in a season?
3. Oh, okay.
One with Washington and one with the Phillies. In what, 14 years? Is that a Hall of Famer?
Look at the lineup he's playing with.
He won't have 400 home runs by the end of next season, end of this season. And I don't know that he'll get to 500. Now, that's a lock. 500 gets you in. And so I'm not sure about that.
Here's what shocks me. How about the guys made a change in positions? Your main man made a change in positions. You swore at the altar of Pete Rose. He changed positions.
Well,
Jeff Bagwell changed positions. These guys they're not all-stars in one position, then change to and they're an all-star?
Wait, hold it. Yeah, but all-star is the fans voting. You know why I think he changed? First of all, he rode Rhys Hoskins out of town because he wanted to go to first base. You got a better chance of being one of the best if you're playing first base than you do play in the outfield, because there's so many more players that are good in the outfield. And I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, he wanted to change, kind of freshen it up a little bit, and he's not going to go. And he does a nice job at first base, but I don't care about changing positions. All right. So now, do the Phillies get to the World Series this year?
That's unfair to ask me because last year I made an announcement in the family chat that I was choosing to become a casual fan from that day forward because my heart was broken when Kirk Green threw that ball away. And I announced to my family, I'm now a casual fan because this is a fan that watched every pitch in Clearwater. And if the guy threw a ball, I would say, send him down. Don't tell me about Paymer. This is in Clearwater when they were doing this.
Okay.
So I've stepped off a little bit, but I have to admit, the fact that he hit a 600-foot home run last night, I'm back.
432 feet, by the way, 432 feet. So that's just, I know accuracy is not something that a lot of people worry about, but it was 432 feet. All right.
Now here's the deal. To get to the World Series, they're going to have to go through a franchise that, for all sense and purposes, has ruined baseball. So the Dodgers just buy whatever they want.
Wait a minute. Don't count out. The Cubs got better. Milwaukee is still a good team. Atlanta, I know injuries, they're up and down, but Atlanta's going to be a good team. Phillies have to worry about getting to the playoffs.
No, my thing would be, the biggest thing with them is when does Wheeler get into the rotation?
All right, I'm gonna throw this at you. Pedro Martinez had the same injury. Do you remember, and I'm sure you do, you were here, the World Series against the Yankees in 2009? And people say, you're throwing Pedro. He's lost he only threw a fastball like 84, 85. He lost 10 miles off his fastball with
Yeah,
that
I
injury.
remember.
Okay. With that injury that Wheeler
Okay,
has.
I didn't know that.
So, if he doesn't have his fastball, and it's kind of a shame. I mean, but we'll see what happens. He'll probably be back
But the
sometime.
one thing about him is he can pitch,
Yeah, yes, he can.
right? I mean, I'm not saying
Needs his
like
fastball too.
he Greg Maddux could pitch. Those guys could pitch.
Yeah.
But is that possible in today's era where
Okay.
it's all launch angles?
All right. So we'll now move on to the Eagles. Do the Eagles get back to the Super Bowl?
Not this year.
Okay, you are
I think
correct.
it's too soon.
There's too many changes.
Yeah, they'll rotate back because
yeah. Well, they got to get some more strength on the offensive line. Lane Johnson is great, but he's older.
Yeah,
he's coming off an injury. The center's coming off injuries.
Yeah.
Landon Dickerson's coming off injuries.
Line. I agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
They were dominant when they won the Super Bowl. It was the offensive line.
So I'm not going to ask you about the Sixers because the Sixers are 4 to 5 years away from being 4 to 5 years away from being 4 to 5 years away. That is the most pathetic organization. You don't have to comment. A pathetic organization I've seen in Philadelphia in my entire life.
I will say this. Nick Nurse is one of the nicest people that I've ever met.
That's great. That's great. Okay. And he's got a team.
Media. Yo, you got to take him over to Thomas and come on now.
They both give you standard lines. But
you have to do that 100 times.
Well, here's the problem, and it's not his fault. Embiid does what he wants when he wants. But if you're Steve Kerr or you're Eric Spoelstra and Greg Popovich in the day, you don't get away with that. Mm-hmm. You do what I want you to do. And if you don't, you're going to sit your ass on the bench. And that's going to be the end of it. And, he wasn't out there. The game I was at, he wasn't out there for a half. He's back in the locker room. Somebody said he had to finish his shake from Shake Shack. I mean, it's just, come out with your team. And then he's eating on the bench. I see him one time he's eating on the bench.
Can't do that.
I know. So, but anyway, I wish your son and you too luck.
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll be fun, but when it's a tight game, boy, I tell you, you're going to be sweating a little bit during that game. You're going to be sweating, and it will be a tight game. It will be a tight game. But congratulations to your son. Tell your son I wish him the best of luck.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And I wish you a best of luck. And it's fun having you. I have fun doing these shows, and I have fun with guys like yourself. And we'll stay in touch. Oh, I do want to, I want to give you a chance to give a shout out. Coaches versus Cancer. You're very big in that. Do you have an event coming up? I know you're always trying to raise
we have
money.
The Coaches versus Cancer Gala is April the 11th.
Okay.
Honoring Kevin Riley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about that? That's nice.
The Browns, the grocery store in Philadelphia, Browns. Do you know that?
Yeah, Jeff Brown.
Yeah, he's going to be the honorary chairman for this year's gala, and Kevin Riley's being honored, and we're excited about it. Just finished our breakfast last Monday for the tournament.
Yep.
But the gala, and
great.
that it's always been my team, my family, my teams, and not beat cancer. I don't think that's good enough. I think you have to go in with the mindset of crushing cancer.
Right.
It's a bully, and we cannot let it up. Let's crush it.
Totally agree. And Jeff Brown, I met Jeff Brown and got to know him a little bit when I was doing shows at his supermarkets trying to fight that bogus soda tax that Philadelphia, through all that nonsense they threw in. They're trying to put a tax on Uber rides to the consumers. That's a new budget by the brilliant mayor, but I don't want to get into all that. All right. But I appreciate you. Good luck with the cancer, and whenever you need some help with that, I'm happy to help you publicize it and help you with that stuff. Good luck to your son. Good luck to VCU.
Let's
go beat those Tar Heels.
Go Rams.
Yeah. Right. See you, Phil. Phil Martelli. What a great guy. Phil is absolutely sensational, and it's great to have people like that on the show. I will have Mark Lawrence on Saturday to talk about the games further against the numbers. But I think you got a sense of some games that Phil likes that I like that you might want to get involved in. I want to thank Stillwell Financial Advisors and Jeff Stillwell for being a big, big, big part of this show. And Jeff is just like the awards that I have gotten, but I can't compare myself to Jeff because I can't help you in financial stuff like Jeff can. Circle of Success, awarded by Ameriprise Financial for client services. His client services are outstanding, and he helps his clients. That's how you get that achievement and that award. There's his number, 732 343 0813. Stillwell Financial Advisors and Jeff Stillwell. Also, I want to announce our winner from last week of the Topps Series 1 Topps baseball cards, Jason Crail. Jason Crail answered the question. The first two teams that Mark Lawrence liked that he picked over the weekend were, what was it, Arizona? I think I forget what they were, but Jason had it. Now it's going to drive me crazy. I have it written down somewhere, but nonetheless, Jason, you are a winner, and thanks to Fanatics, the cards are, and somewhere in those cards there's an autograph or a replica card, courtesy of Fanatics. The cards. I got some other items from Fanatics that I've already given away. A helmet signed by Cooper DeJean. I'm going to give that away. But thanks, Jason. You are a winner. And we will have a winner this week. I already have a question that I'm going to ask you, Phil Martelli, to win a gift certificate from Chickies and Pete's. Submit your entry to howardeskin.com by midnight on Friday, March 20th. Watch the show on Saturday, 8 o'clock, either on X, Twitter, same thing. X and Twitter are the same thing. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. You're automatically notified when the show comes on live. And we'll announce the winner on Saturday. All right. Other things that I want to talk about today. And I told you, I do want to address all this unbelievable stuff that has transpired out of Angelo and I on the show last week, talking about sports talk radio and WIP. And it's just, WIP hasn't generated that much attention in 10 to 15 years because Angelo and I gave our opinions. I believe that I had some facts, but I will talk about that. I'm going to address that whole thing coming up. The Eagles make a trade, today being Wednesday, trade a 7th-round pick for quarterback Andy Dalton. Now you say, why would they trade for Andy Dalton when they got Tanner McKee? Because I don't think there's any question now that they're going to trade Tanner McKee, and they can probably, and it's the backup quarterback, so the Eagles will use Andy Dalton, who's been around to, 6 teams now, at least, somewhere in that area. And, he's a decent backup. He's a decent backup. But that's all right. If you get to your backup for any amount of games, you're in trouble. So the reality here is that I think Tanner McKee will be traded, and they will get better than, hey, thanks, Herb. The answer to the question that the guy that Jason won the cards was Arizona and Florida. Thanks, Herb. Thanks for that help there. I see Herb on the chat line. I think they'll get better. Tanner McKee, you might get a 5 or a 6. So you might get a better draft pick, and it's only your backup quarterback. So I don't think I would be shocked, not surprised, but shocked if the Eagles don't trade Tanner McKee now. And I thought they were going to trade him. I thought they were going to trade him all along. All right. The Sixers, who cares? They're down by 30-something points at half in Denver Tuesday night. Like, who cares? I mean, it's a joke. Hey, I think Edgecom's going to be a really nice player, but he's not a really good shooter at another weak shooting night. Now, again, you're down by big numbers, and I get it. He was 0 for 3 from 3, and I don't know if it was 3 for 14, whatever. But I think he's going to be a good player. Their backcourt's going to be good. Joel Embiid, who knows when he's coming back, and who gives a darn when he comes back, really. All right, the Phillies start the season in a week. I'll mention my guest for next week on Saturday. And we're going to deal with baseball. With the season starting, believe it or not, a week from Thursday. Wow. A week from Thursday. That's amazing. And in the Phillies, the over-under on the over-under is 89.5. I'm not sure. I am not sure which way. I'm not sure which way to go on that. I am not sure which way to go on that. The Phillies have won 90 plus games each of the last 3 years and 6 of the last 8. Yet their over-under number on wins is only 89.5, which leads me to believe, if I'm basing it on the number, I would take the under. I know their pitching's really good. Their offense really hasn't changed that much. It will be interesting. And the other thing, I got to touch something else on the Eagles. Everybody that got all carried away, just totally carried away with this AJ Brown stuff. You see, Waddle was traded from Miami to Denver. Now, he got a first and a third, and they wanted Waddle rather than AJ Brown. And that's pretty much, the Eagles probably wanted a little more than that. Eagles are asking too much for AJ Brown. His age detracts from really a strong first round pick. That's the problem. It's just, I think people got all this nonsense that people talk about. AJ Brown, he's going to be traded here. He's going to be traded there. All along, I knew the Eagles were asking a lot, and teams aren't just going to say, oh, yeah, we'll do that. And Denver goes after Waddle before they went after AJ Brown. I think the Eagles would have taken a first and a third for AJ Brown. I think they wanted a little bit more, but I think that's what Denver had to give up. And they got a fourth back. They had to give up a first and a third. The Eagles wanted more than that. And I still think it's only 50-50 that AJ Brown won't be here. Let's put it this way. I think it's 55-45 that AJ Brown will be here. People do get carried away with all that stuff. I see a lot of, before I address all this stuff that's happened the last week, because Angelo and I gave our opinions. Thanks. Great job, Howard. Phil, thanks. All you did on Hawk Hill. Yeah, he got screwed on Hawk Hill. Yeah, they think VCU wanted to murder them. Not the kid, but is part of the family. I mean, his son's part of the family. Pull McDonald's away from Joel Embiid. I don't think you're going to be able to look at. Look how long Jamie Moyer pitched with that 85-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah, but he won without a fastball. Zach Wheeler wins with his fastball. Pedro Martinez won with his fastball. That's different. I didn't see these questions you wanted me to ask Phil, but Phil is great. Patty always chimes in with some great comments, but one of them, Patty, I'll leave unsaid, but I agree with you. Charles McGinchey, Howard is a legend. I don't like to be. I just try to do a job and try to do it well. Nobody can do it like he did it. The new regime is too scared to lose what they gained. Who knows? Who knows? But it's not. Talk radio is not the same, and it's clear it's not the same. Yeah, Howard has the world record for most radio sports talk shows. Yeah, it's over 8,000. Yeah, I don't think anybody will stay in the business long enough to do that. It just St. John's. I don't like Rick Pitino, but heck, he's coaching that team's playing really well. It's Dr. Eskin getting another PhD. He has one in sports talk. I have one, media communications from Goldie Beacom College in Wilmington, Delaware. But again, thanks for all the people. MJ versus LeBron is the most tired debate. It's not a debate. the point I tried to make is that people who say that LaFraud is better have never seen Michael Jordan. That's the problem. Wilt, Pat, I see Wilt never fouled out of a game. Isn't that amazing? He never fouled out of a game, and he was still dominant in everything everything he did. He was dominant. Phil Martelli brought up a great point. He scored 50 points, and people complained about him scoring. Then the next year, and not only he led the league in points that year, not scored 50 points, he averaged 50 points. So the next year, or at least in the next couple of years, all he did was lead the league in assists. Is that amazing? He does what he does. All right. All right. I'm going to address, or let me give you the question. The question, and then I'm going to address this, and that's how I'm going to close out the show. The question to win the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. Phil Martelli's Final Four. This is, you have to listen, and I'm sure you paid attention. Phil Martelli's Final Four in the end, the teams he predicts will be in the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. Answer that question correctly, and out of the people that do answer that question correctly, we will select a winner at random. Go to my contact page at howardeskin.com. By Friday, midnight, March 20th, the show on Saturday, March 21st at 8 a.m., I'll have the winner on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, share YouTube. I mean, do all these things, and you'll be notified when you subscribe to YouTube. Doesn't cost anything, and you're notified as soon as the show goes on. All right, so you got the question. All right, here it is. There was a lot of, Angela and I did a show, and we just gave our opinions about, and well, let me address this. And that's what this is opinions. I base it on a lot of fact, but it's really time for me to respond to the comments that came out of WIP from my show last Wednesday with Angelo Cataldi. My opinion is what sports talk is, opinions. But most of my opinions are based on fact. Not the fiction most of the time that comes out of WIP. That's what it is. Most of the time out of there, it's fiction. My view is shared by a ton of fans, with a ton of you fans, with your responses on social media, on all the posts. It's, and a lot of the comments where it's hard for people to continue to listen to WIP for whatever reasons. I'm not going to get into specifics and names. I'm not going to do that. But it's the same stuff most of the day. One comment out of WIP, this is the most, and this is laughable, this is the most talented staff WIP had forever. I talked to two people connected with professional teams in this city. And when I told them that comment came out of there, all I got was a big laugh. My response, which is clearly not true, and you people obviously agree with it. My response in almost all the comments was that was delusional and BS. The staff and talent from years ago is light years ahead of this staff currently on Sports Talk WIP. Another comment. WIP now has lapped our ratings from years ago. That is completely false. Completely false. Completely false. Because it's impossible to double the ratings, or impossible to have more with what we were doing, because there are less people listening to radio in today's world. It's a fact. There's nothing you can do to stop it. That's more fiction and BS out of WIP. Clearly fiction. It's impossible. There's not as many people listening to radio anymore. They have other things, and podcasts are changing that too. If that's the case, why are the revenues down so much in radio that Odyssey, the company that owns WIP, declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the last year. And by the way, another radio company, Cumulus, also declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The attention myself and Angelo brought WIP in the last week, they have never gotten with this group. Never, never. And we were just expressing ourselves, and we do it in a way that's entertaining. Agree or disagree, it's entertaining. We had an opinion based on facts. At least I can say that for myself. What sports talk radio should be. Podcasts more and more are the new media, and that's what's happening now. So it's harder to get talent. It's harder to be as good as we were years ago. Look at the comments. Many say that they've had a hard time listening to WIP anymore. I talk to many people in person and I see the comments. Hey, listen, you guys do a job, try to do the best you can, but it's not the same as it used to be. And it's not the same staff or as good, even close to what used to be. Angelo and I put on a clinic on how it should be done. Fact versus fiction is now lost on WIP, and that's sad. I just wanted to address it. And good luck to all those people, but you'll never be what we used to be. And that's a fact of life. Everybody, have a great night. Thanks to Joe Gangemi on the other side for the technical work. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for the graphics and the work on the website. And thanks to you. Thanks to Phil Martelli. Phil Martelli is always great. Thanks to you. We'll see you on Saturday. Have a great night and a better day tomorrow. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, stay warm. Man, its weather is crazy. Have a good night. Thanks for joining and Riding with the King on the Howard Eskin Show.
Whoa. Oh, 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 oh. Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control from the link to the X, from the sixes to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, lost the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your take, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it, that's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.